You've been going to the gym consistently for over 2 years now and you've made no gains. You listen to all these fitness influencers who advocate for high volume, push pull legs, or the most nonsensical workouts ever, but yet you make no gains. This was me 2 years ago when I first started training in the gym, and then I was only 150 pounds, skinny fat, and weak. But now, after going through trials and errors of workout programs, methods, and techniques, I am now 180 pounds, stronger and bigger than before. So in this video, I'm going to give you non-bullshit advice on how to actually start growing. So when I first started going to the gym, right, I started taking my training seriously around 2 years ago. During that time, I was doing the high volume workouts, the push-pull legs, the stuff that people were telling me online back then, right? You gotta do 6 days a week, push-pull legs, you gotta do high volume workout, you gotta do 3 chest exercises for your chest to see growth, 2 times a week, so 3 on the first push day and 3 more on the second push day. Same with the back, 3 on the first pull day and 3 on the second pull day. Same with the legs, although I kind of neglected legs, but let's not get into that. And so I would do all these exercises, right? So it'd be 3 exercises with like 4 sets each of like 12 reps. I had like an old spreadsheet of my workouts, and I'd have again 3 exercises for my push, then 3 for my shoulders, and three for my triceps. For my back, for my pull day, it would be like 3 for back, 3 for biceps, and 3 for like traps or lower back. And so I would do these workouts, right? But I wouldn't make any prominent or like I wouldn't make any noticeable amounts of muscle mass. I wouldn't make any gains because I wasn't really growing. I wasn't focusing on muscle growth. I was just doing endless amounts of junk volume. You know, I wasn't doing anything productive in the gym. I was spending all that time in the gym, 2 hours a day, 12 hours a week in that gym, but not actually focus on growing my muscles. Because again, if you want to get bigger, you need to get stronger. I wasn't doing that. I was just doing 3 sets or 3 to 4 sets of 12 on bicep curls, bench press, incline bench press, pull downs. Like I was doing the easy exercise. Like working out didn't feel hard or challenging. It felt easy. You just go to the gym, you work out, you conserve your energy, and yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I did for my, workouts during like the first 2 years of my training. And I didn't grow significantly because again, if you want to get bigger muscles, you need to get stronger. There's like a famous clip of like Sebum talking to like David Lade, right? And Sebum asks, "Oh, is that
But
all you're gonna
sir,
do?" And David Lade's like, "I gotta conserve my energy."
I have to save my
Like,
fuel.
and Sebum responds like, "That's not how you work out. You gotta to failure. You gotta train with grit." David's like, "No, but there's like so many sets. I gotta conserve my energy." That was like my mindset around training 2 years ago. So what does this tell us about building an aesthetic physique or building muscle? Well, it tells us that working out is not a marathon; it's a sprint. We want to go at full power and then rest for a couple minutes. Go at full power, rest for a couple minutes, and then rinse and repeat. You just don't need to be like conserving your energy to do this many sets because again, unless you're injured or you're like a beginner, you don't need to do high volume. If you want to get linear growth, you want to build muscle continually, and by getting stronger, you need to go push. You need to push to intensity. You need to push to failure because otherwise, you're not going to grow. When you go to failure, that's like when the muscle building reps really happen. That's where like the stimulation for your muscles is happening because like it's thinking to yourself, like the muscle is like I guess thinking to itself, oh shit, this movement is hard and I want to get this movement to be easier, so it's going to build itself. And so this is how it builds muscle because you're pushing yourself by a progressive overload. You're getting stronger. So at this rep range that you're pushing yourself, it's getting stronger, the muscle's tearing up. It's thinking to itself, okay, I need to get stronger, I need to build a bigger muscle so that I can make this movement so much more easier. So that's why it's a sprint and not a marathon. This is why I advocate for, when you're trying to build muscle, is that you get strong first. Because again, I say this every time in my videos, is that this is your muscle strength, right? And this is your muscle size. As your strength goes up in the gym, your muscle size will follow. So as you get stronger and stronger and stronger, your muscle size will get bigger and bigger. It's completely linear. Muscle strength and muscle size are completely linear. They don't go against each other. Sure, you could bias one side more than the other, but like 9 out of 10 times, if you get stronger on a lift, you will get bigger for that same muscle. Because again, if you take a guy with like a 135-pound bench press, right, and you take him to 225 pounds on the bench press, so essentially 1 plate to 2 plates, he would have built a bigger chest. Same thing if he went from 2 plates to 3 plates to 4 plates. As you get stronger in the gym, you will build bigger muscles. So this is why progressive overload is so important, because you're adding weight and reps to your sets, right? And just a quick side note, adding sets is not progressive overload. It's not. Adding weight or adding an extra rep. So if you go in from, I don't know, if you're doing bicep curls like last week, you only did like 30 pounds for 7 reps. But today, which is next week, you do 30 pounds on bicep curls, but you do it for 8 reps. That means you got stronger. You were able to do another rep. And so because you got stronger, your muscles slightly got bigger. Now, when you see like these incremental like changes of strength, you're not gonna see massive amounts of muscle growth, right? It only matters on like a long period of time, right? So when you were a beginner, you're probably only like able to curl 10 pounds, but now you are an intermediate when you can curl 30 pounds. There will be a big difference in your bicep size compared to 10 pounds when when you were curling 10 pounds to now when you're curling 30 pounds. And so that's why progressive overload is so important. You need to get stronger, and you do it by progressive overload, by adding more weight over time, by adding more reps. And you do that just by getting stronger in the rep ranges. And if you do get stronger in the rep ranges, you will build more muscle. But yeah, that is the end of this video. If you found it helpful, go leave a like down below, comment, subscribe, do all that YouTube stuff. And again, if you want to get jacked in the next 90 days, DM me fit on Instagram. And yeah, that's about it. Peace.